like, I don't know if you've seen Hickson Gracie, like with his new book that he's been going around talking about with Breathe, where it's
is that? No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, he's got a new book, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Because I just saw it come out of nowhere. It's like, oh wow, shit. Because I don't really pay that much attention online, but then I've seen a few of his interviews, and he talks about the breath. You can't go without breath for 5 minutes. Then you can't go without water for a week, and then you can't go without food for a month. So it's like the breath is super important, and and he talks about using it to hyperventilate and actually have a physical impact on his body with his hormonal levels and his internal levels and all that kind of stuff. Just like with regards to breathing, you can just take 5 minutes a day and breathe. You can do grounding as well, but like these sort of things that at the base level, get the air right, then get the water right, get the food right. And that's like with the city life in Babylon, we're getting more synthetic and more fake kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you go more into the natural, what are your thoughts on that with regards to the importance of that? And then what would you put after food? Like as important as like safety or shelter or community?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I forget his name. It's Maslow or Haslov or someone. He's got a hierarchy of needs. So there's safety and security. There's love. There's a lot of other things in there. Forget what they are. I think there's 5 of them. I mean, these are great. These hierarchies are really good for people to get a entry into what it's like to be balanced as an individual. But once you've gone past that point, it's kind of the hierarchies that aren't as necessary, because you find that they all come back around on each other anyway. So I think they're really good for awareness, for people to become more, self-aware, So it's funny though, because minerals, if you go without minerals for, less than a minute, you're going to die. So it's actually, there's ones that are before air as well. The breath, although it's super important. And that's why I have the motto for my website, which is life in every breath. I really like centering myself with that phrase or that mantra, if you want to call it that, because it reminds me to be centered within myself and to breathe the life energy in with every breath, because we take so many breaths each day that we're not even aware of. And when we become aware of the breath, that's when we become more centered and self-aware.
Yeah, well, that's like that little poem that you have, which is pretty cool, life in every breath, but I don't know if you want to say it, but what is it? Life in every breath, beauty in every step, honor every moment, and embrace every test. And that's kind of like there's a lot of depth to what to that little poem. So it's pretty like, so breath is the air, and you can talk about that, and then the beauty in every step. It's like embrace the movement, the flow that you talk about. On every moment of gratitude, like you need the gratitude to be humble, otherwise the ego can. Yes, I'm just saying, like that little poem, and embrace every test. It's like, don't put things off, tomorrow never comes kind of thing. Learn from your experience. That's sort of what I take from that. And
totally. It's I wrote that just because I didn't write it for any particular reason. It was just for me, and I just wanted to embody I wanted to encapsulate what I was feeling was really important for me, because I needed a reminder to, especially when you go through a lot of difficulty, you need a reminder to embrace that and not run from it. So that was the embrace, and to see it as a test, because it's only through being tested that we actually, like in jiu-jitsu, you've got to be tested, right? I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the growth. And as it is with all parts of life, like my jiu-jitsu instructor always says that jiu-jitsu is a metaphor for life. Like everything that he goes, it's even funny because we pay him out in class, because he just goes, see, that's like jiu-jitsu is good for that. Jiu-jitsu is good for that. And he's just like anything, washing your dishes, washing your clothes, jiu-jitsu is good for that. He's a little bit too obsessed with it. But one of the things that I brought a friend to their first lesson, and they were trying to escape from side control by turning away. And Reese, my instructor, he says, no, you got to turn into your partner. You got to face your problems. And he goes, it's much like life. You've got to face your problems, turn into them. And she thought that was the best thing. Like that was the best thing she got out of that lesson. And it's true. There are a lot of similarities between the metaphors for training, whether it's jiu-jitsu or something else, and then the way that it's more fruitful to approach life.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it's like when Professor Sauer talks about it. Yeah, it's just jiu-jitsu. Yeah, it's the same thing, metaphor for life, and jiu-jitsu and everything. You use jiu-jitsu with my wife. You jiu-jitsu with business. Jiu-jitsu here. Someone rings up. It's jiu-jitsu. Yeah. But it's kind of like that old joke. How do you know someone does jiu-jitsu? It's like,
what's that? How?
They'll tell you within 5 minutes. But it's more.
That's the same as that. How do you know someone's a vegan? They'll tell you.
Yeah, it works for veganism. Works for triathlons or triathletes. Yeah. It works for CrossFitters. Yeah. But
pretty much everything.
Yeah, whatever everyone's excited in, and they're very exciting things to get into. But